To my house.
Thank you. Nice. Thank you for having me. It's a lovely house. Yeah, it's nice. Nice.
I love it when people say that. It's the front. It's the front.
It's nice.
front. You haven't seen the rest of it yet. I tell everyone.
No, it's nice. Lovely. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you coming on. It's great.
Yeah, it's great, mate.
Yeah, it's
and
really good.
so obviously, we always start the same way.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about Andrew. Where does he come from? Go back as far as you can and tell everyone.
Right, where did he come from? Right. So Andrew, I was born obviously 22nd of June 1978. I know I don't look it, but yeah, 1978, 45.
Wait there now.
Not a hard life, hard paper round. So I was born in a traditional Welsh family, a mother and father, hard-working family. Born in a little two-bedroom terraced house, brought up in a two-bedroom terraced house in a place called Bryn Sadler, which is small. It's a little small, tiny little village next to Pontyclun. So Pontyclun, people have probably heard of that, but Bryn Sadler. So brought them a little two-bedroom terrace. I got 3 brothers, 2 older brothers, 1 younger brother. So you can imagine the testosterone in my house growing up was ridiculous, and the competitiveness in my house was ridiculous.
You're not a small guy either.
Yeah, I'm the smallest out of them all, to be honest. My one brother's 6'4", my one brother's 6'3", my other brother's 6 foot. I'm probably the widest, but the shortest. I'm scraping 6 foot, I think, if I got heels on. But, yeah,
Only on a Saturday.
Yeah, it's a sport in my house growing up was massive, so well, it still is now, I suppose. If you go to my dad's any time of day, he's watching any sport, and the main ones being rugby union, rugby league, boxing. He likes watching darts. My dad, cricket. So rugby, sport with my dad's probably, if he went there now, he's probably watching some form of sport in the house. And I think if Tiddlywinks is a sport, he'd watch that. My mother doesn't watch any sport at all, or she gets made to watch it. But my dad loves sport, so all of us have been brought up around rugby mainly. Rugby union is the big one, really. So yeah, a lot of us played rugby union and football. My other brother, 2 older brothers, played cricket. Both played for Wales in cricket as well, so they're very good cricketers. So my mum worked in National Westminster Bank. Had a good job in National Westminster Bank, NatWest now. And then when my oldest brother Simon was born, he's 54 now. So when he was born, she gave up work to be classed an old traditional housewife, I suppose. So my dad worked in a factory, worked really hard. They're both really hard-working parents, so brought us up with good traditional values, working hard. So my mother gave up work. And then she didn't go back to work then until my youngest brother, Carl, who's 38 now, until he was old enough to look after himself. So then she went back to work in the local school in Talbot Green where we live. So she worked as a dinner lady, and I went back in the evening as a cleaner then. And she only just recently finished work last year. She worked in Talbot News and Gift for over 20 years in the local news agents. So she just loved work. My parents loved working. So
work ethic.
Yeah, it's a great work ethic, and all the boys have got the same thing really. So we all got good work ethic. I think we all enjoy. We all got very good jobs, all quite successful. All work really hard and work long hours and everything. So that's the way. I think it's a blueprint of British life, Welsh life, or British life, I suppose. You've got to work hard, find a partner, get married, have a kid, and die. That's the life. It's like a blueprint to follow, and I totally bucked the trend. I did it all arse backwards.
You just didn't know the road, which we'll get into.
Yeah. So I did. So it made you think about yourself. You look back at your life, you go, I'm a failure. I'm not living to the normal blueprint of British life, and that's so I'm doing it all arse backwards. So for years, you probably think you're a bit of a failure if you look back, and all your friends getting married, settled down, and having children, doing the right order, whereas I just did completely. Still working on it now, to be honest. But yeah, no, it's really good. So I had a great upbringing. My parents were amazing, loving parents. We had everything we needed, really. We were wealthy. We had 4 boys and my dad was working, so we were all clean, fed well. As you can tell, fed well. We like our food. So
you said traditional values. What do you mean by traditional? What does that mean to you? What does the traditional values mean?
Well, loyalty of friends and family.
Is that big for you guys?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like hardworking. Hardworking is a big one. So my mother, that's all she ever thinks about. Work is like a priority. So if we ever have time off work, the first thing she'll say to you, oh, what about work? What about work? Do you know what I mean? That's the first thing they'll say to you. What about work? Because they've always worked all their lives. My mother and father in their 70s, and they were still working, like late 70s. And the only reason my mother stopped working, she had a bleed on the brain last year, so she had to stop working. But if she didn't have that, she would have carried on working, I think. Wow. So got her out the house. Otherwise, they just sit in the house. They don't.
How did that impact everyone? Bleed on the brain.
It was the second one she had actually. And the last year was quite a big one, to be honest, because I don't know. My mother smoked since she was like 14. They used to start smoking, and she gave up smoking. And then as soon as she gave up smoking, she had a bleed on the brain. So I said, you should have carried on smoking, really. So I don't know whether the body had a bit of a shock on her. And but she recovered. She said, they said to us last year, it's going to be it's touch and go, really. It's a big one this time. But she's fine. She took her a while, but her speech was a little bit slurred, and her mobility wasn't great, her balance and everything. But if you look at her now, if you didn't know, you would know. We're just strong. My mother and father are just strong people. I think that's where we all got it from. Resilient and strong and determined people and stubborn, I suppose. So that's where all the boys get it from.
Yeah, do you think that, especially from, you come from the valley, right?
Yeah.
Lantricent, sort of Pontyclun area.
Yeah.
I think it's the way... Are people bred differently there? in a way that, I'm from the valley, so I'm from Croissy Cardiog, but Do you feel that it's just like a different, because it just seems like,
Yeah.
it's just got a different way of, do you think there's anything in that?
Maybe we're bred differently up the valleys, or I think it's just the traditional family I come from. I say my parents, they've never driven a car, never been on holidays, they don't have mobile phones, they haven't got internet, they have the same meals every night for food. They're stuck in the 1930s or 1940s. They're great loving people. I'm not knocking them. They're brilliant parents, and I love them to bits. But it's just the way they are. They're brought up with certain values and certain beliefs, which I've listened to for 40 years of my life. Listening to perhaps people on benefits, they got a certain opinion about that. A certain opinion about people coming over from immigration. So I've been brought up listening to that for the last 40 years. Not saying they're right or wrong. That's just the generation they're from and the era they're from, and that's just the way they are. And they're great people, but they say they're stuck in their ways, and you'll never change my parents ever. I mean, they're trying to change. They do change a little bit, but not much at all. They're so set in their ways. It's brilliant. They're great. They're funny people. They're great.
And you've really tight knit family then.
Yeah, very close. They say we all love each other. That we all love each other a lot. I know that. We don't tell each. I've never heard anybody say it to each other. I don't see my brothers very often, and I haven't spoke to my oldest brother or my other brothers for the last couple of months really. But I know if I needed them, I could pick up the phone and they'd be there for me, and vice versa. If they needed me, we'd be there together for them. So very close. And my mother used to do a traditional family tea every Sunday, where she used to make pies, pasties, pizzas, gatos on a Sunday. And all the boys and all the girlfriends, wives, the children. My mother hasn't got a big house. She's got a 3-bedroom semi-detached in Talbot Green. So she's a love seeing. That's where the meeting place, the meeting point of my family, the heartbeat of my family, my mother's house. So everybody meets there. And all the women and the wives and the kids end up in one room, the dining room with all the food, and all the men end up in the other room, my dad, watching Scrum 5 on telly on a Sunday night normally. And that's what it was for years and years and years. And the only reason she stopped doing it is because obviously she had a couple of strokes, and it's a bit too much for her to cook all the food now and everything, so we don't do it anymore now. So we all miss it. We always moan about it, because on a Sunday, if I want to go off on the beach or go somewhere, to get back to my mother's for a Sunday tea. And if you didn't go, everybody talk about you, or she'd talk about you. But so we do miss it now, because I don't see my brothers.
It brings the family together, doesn't it?
Yeah, everybody, that's all it does. I haven't seen my brothers. I see my younger brother a bit. I'm close to my younger brother, but I haven't seen my other 2 brothers for a while now. I haven't spoken to on the phone.
Yeah, you said that you missed that.
Yeah.
What do you miss about it?
Just see my brothers, listen to it. It is just a good atmosphere. You see all the partners, all the children growing up. You just see them all developing, the kids, and it's just nice to be together. It's like family is so important to me. That's my heartbeat, my thing. Everything I do in life, I think of my family, and that's what drives me on everything. Pretty much everything I do. Is my family really, and my family now is my current partner Kelly, and she's got 2 children, and I got a son who's 22. So that's my immediate family. My family, I suppose, my mum and dad, my 3 brothers. But my family, I've obviously grown up, move on now. My family is my partner, and her two children and my son. That's my immediate family. But yeah, family means I do anything with my family, to be honest with you, and nobody ever hurt my family. Or I love my family bits. Yeah, it's good.
But that's what I'm saying with the valleys. It feels like. I don't know, it just feels like as though that family piece just has a lot more, I don't know, just it could arguably quite fragmented now, the family part,
Yeah.
With that coming around the table and having some Sunday lunch and ripping some bread.
Yeah.
We struggle with that nowadays.
Yeah,
where we are,
Yeah, there's a lot of families don't do that. That's what the Valleys community is. Everybody knows everybody, I suppose, can work against you sometimes. You're all gossiping about everybody. But yeah, it is nice because you've got to know your neighbours all at the street. And like if you go to the bigger cities, I went to Cardiff once, and I was with somebody in Cardiff, and she didn't know the neighbours. So she lived there for 4 years and hadn't spoken to her neighbours.
But that's quite alien then, isn't it?
Yeah.
As it is, she's someone from a community-based place to come to a place like it's like knowing your neighbours. Yeah. I'm used to saying hello to everyone.
Yeah. If you say hello to somebody, they look at you as if you've got 2 heads or something. Say hello, morning. They look at you as if you're like from a space or something. They think, I don't know you. They're like, it's just strange. For me, I love talking. I like talk for Britain. So I'll talk to anybody. I get on with anybody. So I love, so to go somewhere where nobody really talks is a bit alien, a bit strange.
I went down to London about 3 weeks ago, and that London piece was like, I feel like as though I'm a bit like I'll talk to anyone, but on a tube it's like accepted not to. Yeah,
you can't.
Whereas actually, like that deep-rooted history in the valleys, there's something really special about it. Yeah. Right, with that family and that especially when you said your mum. Yeah. She comes across like a powerhouse.
Yeah. Oh, she is. I'd say she's only 5'4". I think she's tiny, and all the boys just tower over her, but she's the boss. If she says something, we all listen to her, and nobody swears in front of my mother. Like I swear like a trooper. We all do rugby boy. I might say the odd like slight mild swear word in front of my mother, but I would never say the F word in front of my mother. I'd never swear. She'd kill me. But once when I was a kid growing up, she literally washed my mouth out with soap. She grabbed me around the throat, and rammed soap in Imperial leather, I think it was. Still got scars of PTSD from that now. And she rammed Imperial leather in my mouth, and was twisted in my mouth, and washed her mouth out with soap when I was about 5, I think it was. So, yeah, nobody ever swears from my mother, not any serious words, none of us do. And we look at the size of us, we're all big guys. My parents aren't big, my dad's about 5'10",
right.
and my mother's about 5'5", 5'4", I think. So we're all the boys tower of my parents, but nobody... We all respect, and that's the way we're brought up. I suppose respect elderly people, respect older people, and respect people. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's the way we're brought up. I take my shoes off before I go to people's houses. And my son does the same. Hopefully I put that into my son as well. He got good traditional values.
Just checking you got your shoes on.
That wooden floor.
Hey, there's a lot of disrespect already, right?
If it was carpet, I'd have taken it off.
It'd be coming off. I love it. Right, I'm going to get carpeted floor. Just
yeah, I take it off.
Yeah, but that respect, mate. Let's go back to that then. So where's that played in your? We'll go back to a bit of childhood and where that respect played. But where does respect sit for you?
Well, respect, I say it's massive for me. It's helped me through my whole of my life, my career, every job I've had. I always respected my manager. I mean, I like my manager. I mean, I agree to what they're doing, but I respect my manager. I never disrespect my boss or disrespect people. Older people, for example. I respect people. I don't think people are better than me, but I respect people who've been successful in their career. I just give respect to people. I do a lot of security work in London with VIPs, and people say, "Oh, did you get their autograph?" They're just normal people like me. They're just good at their job. I respect them for their job. They're professional footballers, singers, or whatever they are. They're not a better person than me. They're just lucky. They're a lucky break, and they're just good at what they do. I'm good at what I do. Do they ask for my autograph? So I was, when I started in the bank, first of all, like years ago, used to get intimidated by people who had lots and lots of money. I was only a young kid at the time, and I'd done very well in the bank to get as far as I did at a young age. And people just come in their late 60s, had hundreds of thousands of pounds in their account. You can see them looking at me thinking, what are you, just a kid? What do you know? And I used to get a little bit intimidated by that. But then over the years, I've learned so much over the last 20 odd years, I suppose. Money makes a difference. I don't care about money anymore. It doesn't make a difference to me at all. And so I don't get intimidated by anybody anymore at all. It doesn't matter who they are, what job they got, what position they hold. Really, I respect them for what they do, and that's been brought up from my parents, I suppose. And I pass on to my son as well. He's a very polite child, and he's 22, man, I suppose now, but he's very polite, and every meets him, says he's a great kid, he's really polite, and he goes to people's houses, he takes his shoes off, he always says please, thank you, and hello.
I'll invite him in next time.
Yeah. So you want to see his shoes, they're stinking, he's a student.
I'll have to take him off.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just been brought up with traditional values, I suppose, traditional morals and good morals, and drummed into us, but my family, I suppose, you've taken into our careers, and obviously playing rugby is a big part. I listen to my coach all the time as well. Obviously, listen to what the coach does, and rugby. I'm not saying rugby's for everybody, but sport I think is good to take out of away from sport as well. It gives you values, morals, determination, learning. You learn about things, teamwork, and everything. So I think being good at some form of sport helps you in your afterlife as well. Helps you in your life, in your career as well.
Yeah,
so.
You mentioned like someone coming into the bank and like talking down, right?
Yeah,
thinking like I've got this money with you.
Yeah.
Have you had any other situations of that where they stick out that you've had to bite, and the learnings from them when you were younger?
Not so much when I was younger, but I did security for a few years, and obviously some people, especially when drink is involved, some people turn into vile people, and it's sometimes the professional people as well, like the teachers, the physiotherapists. And they looked at their nose. Some of the things you guys said to the security guards, to myself.
Because I got loads.
You're thick as shit, you're thick as shit. That's why you're doing this job. You failed all your exams in school, you're thick as shit. Or some vile things. And you're thinking, do you mean? And I used to get frustrated because most of the security guards I know have got good day jobs as well. They're doing that just for an extra couple of quid to have a nice, better life for their family. They're looking after strangers. They should be home, sat in the house, safe with their families. But they're not. They're looking after total strangers, getting shouted at, getting things chucked at them, getting abused. And they're thinking, what am I putting up this shit for? Do you mean? But I used to really wind me up because I used to argue back and say, I got a good time, I'm a bank manager. And they look at me, yeah, of course you are. And last couple of years, I learned to just laugh at them, thinking, that's sad. If that's how sad you are, really. If you've got to try and knock somebody down and belittle people, that's how pathetic. You're pathetic, really. Do you mean? So I used to just laugh at them in the end towards the last few years. But at the start, when I first started doing it used to really wind me up. And when you say if you've got to ask somebody to leave, and obviously get your hands off me, I'm embarrassed, or get your hand. Hey, being a dick. I don't care what your job is, mate. You're still pissing on the seat, or you're still doing something you shouldn't be doing. You're breaking the rules at the end of the day. And if you're embarrassed, you should know better. Do you mean? You're breaking rules and that. So, and they're the ones you used to have trouble with. The people, I'm not saying the tradesmen or the down-to-earth people, you've never got no problem with them. They're quite respectful. And they oh, sorry, mate, sorry for doing it. They'll apologise and they'll leave, or they'll just apologise. But
what lessons have you learned on that then? Because obviously we were talking earlier on, we got quite a few mutual friends.
Yeah.
Archer being one of them.
Yeah.
Archer's the utmost respect for Archer.
Yeah.
And I worked with him for years, but that bit where where you're young and you are being called those sort of things. What has made you shift from there to where you are now then?
Well, basically, I've done a lot over the last couple of years, especially, and I've just done a lot of reading and research and studying about human behaviours and things like that, which I find it fascinating. I find human behaviour fascinating. Like recently, I've just qualified just passed my exams as an NLP practitioner, a neuro-linguistic programming, which is a study of human behaviour. I just find it fascinating, and obviously I've done a lot of self-reflection on myself, my own life, my upbringing, my personal life, obviously what experiences I've had and things. I've just done a lot of reflecting. I'm more accepting of people now. I'm a better person, better today than I was yesterday, better than I was last week. But I'm growing all the time, basically. It's an ongoing journey. I'm not there yet, I'm far from it, but I'm much better now than I was 6 months, 6 years, definitely different person than I was 5 years ago, completely different person.
So was there a moment that changed you? Because obviously they're growing every day, right?
Yeah.
You know, that compounding effect of compounding your learning. Was there a certain time, like 6 years ago, or something happened that you went, right, no, I want to... I've got to change, I've got to move myself on, I've got to learn, I've got to grow.
Yeah, well, the big thing for me, obviously, I was involved in like a serious car accident. I was involved in a very serious car accident in 20th of August 1999, and at 21 years of age. And it was horrendous. I was pronounced dead on the side of the road. They said I was dead on the side of the road. The paramedics and the fire brigade and the ambulance, police, when they came, there was 5 of us in the car. The others didn't have a scratch, touch wood, they were fine. But I went out the side window, the driver's window, so I was dragged along the floor for a couple of 100 yards, and the car stopped, and it landed on top of me then. When it stopped sliding, at the time I was quite big and strong. I was playing semi-professional rugby for Cardiff, or Llantrisant as well. I wanted to play for Wales. My dream from 5 years of age, 21, was to play for Wales. I was really fit, physically fit, and they said I was dead on the side of the road. I'm not a ghost, so I'm not dead. So, but I was vomiting on the side of the road then, so they rushed me to the Royal Gwent in Newport. There was nothing they could do for me there, so I had a police escort down to Morrison Hospital in Swansea, and I was in a coma then for 5 weeks. The first operation I had that night was to take all the bone from my brain. I smashed my skull to pieces, so I had all bone embedded in my brain. So that was the first operation I had. So that caused me to have a bleed on the brain or a stroke. And then I was in my coma then. My family got told on numerous occasions he's not going to make it through the night. And then when I started obviously getting a little bit better, they said he's got severe brain damage. They could tell from my scans, from my CT scan, all the different scans, he's got severe brain damage. So if he does wake up, be prepared. He might not recognise his family, friends, talk ever again. He'd be a vegetable, basically. So I woke up. I remember who people were. My mother was standing on my bed crying. And I had an argument with my mother. As soon as I woke up, I had an argument with my mother. And my mother...
What was that? What was the argument?
It's a bit stupid now, but I'm quite like black and white in my life. I've tried open-minded the last couple of years. I've tried to open my mind up to lots of different things, but when I woke up from my accident, I said, how is Carl? And my little brother, at the time he was 14, he's 38 now, but at the time he was 14. So I'm closer to Carl because my two older brothers had left home, they had their own lives and grown up, and me and Carl were still living at home, so we grew up like together. So that's why I'm loving my brothers the same, but I'm closer to Carl because we're similar 7 years difference in age, and we grew up together. So I said to my mother, how's Carl? And how is Bug? Bug is basically the nickname of my ex-partner's dad. James, his name was. Bug, his nickname was. Right. And I said, what do you mean? How's Bug and Carl? And they said, he's in bed. He's 14 years of age. On Saturday night, he's in bed. And Bug was working in London. I said, they weren't there. I was adamant they were in the car with me. I said, they were in the car with me. And they said, they weren't there. I was in a coma in intensive care. I couldn't walk. And I said, they were. My mother says, you were adamant they were there with you. Because I was walking at a dark corridor, really narrow corridor. I was walking up this dark, with a really bright light at the end of this corridor. So I was walking up this corridor, and then I was just about to go into the light, and all of a sudden I heard some voices behind me calling my name. So I turned around, I looked back at them, and it was my little brother and her dad. I don't know. Her dad's a lovely guy, but we weren't close, so I don't know why it was him. So I looked at them for a while. I looked back and forth between the light and them. I turned around and walked back towards my brother and her dad. I woke up the next day then, but I was swore they were in the car with me that day. So so I woke up. And they told me I'd never walk ever again. I'd be in the wheelchair for the rest of my life. And I said to the doctor, I'll guarantee I'll walk with this hospital. And he said, Andrew, you'll never walk out of this hospital again. And okay, so I learned to walk again. It took me about 2 weeks to learn to walk again. So I was determined, and no disrespect. I know a couple of people in wheelchairs, I'm playing rugby, but I couldn't be in a wheelchair for being so fit and healthy all my life. At 21 years of age, invincible at 21. I couldn't be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life at the time. I'd rather be dead, I suppose, but I know you'd adapt and change over the years, but at the time, I was determined I'd walk again.
What was it? What was that part that made you really want to do that?
I just determined that. I'll say, we've been brought up, all my brothers are really competitive. We hate losing. Losing is not an option in my house. And when we lose, the worst thing was if we lost on a Sunday playing rugby on a Saturday. The worst was going home and facing the family, facing my brothers. You have the piss taken out of you, or you get ribbed for the next couple of days. Was
that a big reason for you wanting to not to have to go?
Rest of my life, I was 21 years of age, and I suppose, and I was too young. My life was too short. I was thinking, what have I achieved? If I die now, if I do this, I look back on my life, I've just been on the piss since I was 15 years of age. I was, 15 years of age, go out on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, drinking with all my mates and everything, drinking all the time. And that's my life. I'm a typical rugby boy, a pain in the arse when I go out sometimes. And I'm not a nasty person, just messing around and just having fun and having a laugh. But I suppose I didn't ever cause any trouble, really, or I want any problems with anybody, just like running away from takeaways or usual stuff you do when you're drunk as a rugby boy. But I look back, I think at 21, I'm thinking, what have I achieved? I just pissed it up against the wall all my life, up until 21. So, and I'm obviously determined, and I like when somebody tells me I can't do something, I'll do it, plus I'll do it much better as well. So somebody says I can't do anything, I'll show them. It gives me a fire in my belly. I got to prove to that person they're wrong. I want to do it then. So
proving it for yourself or for your family?
Yeah, probably proving it to both, I suppose, my family and to myself. And that was a big battle, proving things to my family, I suppose. So the injuries I had, the physical injuries I had were horrendous, but the biggest battle I had was with mental health. My mental health, I struggled with that for 20 odd years, I suppose. It's only been the last 3 years I've been in a really strong position to talk about things.
Talk us through, we all, mental health seems to be, and it is, a massive topic at the moment.
Yeah.
It seems quite a buzzword regarding, everyone talks about it. But when, that 20-year period you talked about, talk us through the start and the middle and the end of that. So what's that 20-year journey look like for mental health?
It was tough, and at the time I was offered. They offered me counselling and support in the hospital. But when you're a macho 21-year-old, and there was a huge stigma attached 3 years ago. There still is a bit now, but it's getting better. Still nowhere near where it needs to be. But they offered me counselling. But I thought I'd see some guy, some posh bloke in a white coat, try and psychoanalyse me, judge me, try and get inside my head. So I'm not a nut. There's nothing wrong. I'm not a nut. I don't need to see that. That's ignorant and childish at 21. So I didn't want to see him. So I refused it. So I refused help, then professional help. You can't talk to your family because we don't talk. My family, we talk about sport and we love each other. I never see any of my family show any emotions or any affection towards each other, hug each other or love each other. We don't talk. I never see. My brother's been through divorce. No, I didn't pick up the phone and see he was okay. Or we just don't talk about things like our feelings because it's a sign of. I thought it was a sign of weakness. You're a macho big man. You just got to get on with it and deal with it. And that's the era you're from, I suppose. So I didn't talk to my family because of that reason. But also you're putting them through enough as it is. So you can't talk to your family. You can't talk to a counsellor. So who do you talk to? So you got your mates as well. But your mates are like rugby boys, doormen, and they just take the piss. And it is nice to have a bit of banter. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes you want to talk to someone. So I had nobody to talk to then. Really. I just bottled it all up myself.
So where did it start? And talk us through. Give us an understanding. Like I said, I'm interested in what it looks like.
Yeah.
What does it look like? What is going through those 20 years mental? What is actually does it? What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What are you?
The first. It's only been the last couple of years I've actually started to like what I see in the mirror and accept myself. The first 15 years, I hated what I saw in the mirror. I called myself a freak. Spoke to my mother. She used to get upset about it. You and her son say things he did to himself. It was horrendous calling him a freak. When somebody come to my mother's house and knock the door, I'd run upstairs. I didn't want to see my scars. When I look in the mirror, that's the first thing I see. Even now, when I look in the mirror, the first thing I see is my scars. And people say to me, "Oh, you can't notice. It's not that bad." I could never accept compliments of anybody. I just lost all my self-confidence. Lost my everything. I lost my belief in myself. I just lost everything. And
do you feel on that note that everyone sees your scars first before you?
Over the last couple of years, I've started to accept they don't now. I'm Andrew, a bubbly, big, bright personality, and they like me for who I am, not because of my scars. And I've only learned this the last couple of years, really. It's only been recently. And so I struggled with that for years and years and years. And I'd lie in bed, it was hard. I'd lie in bed, crying every day, and I didn't want to be here anymore. Wish I died in my accident. I never thought about taking my own life or anything stupid because I just didn't. But I struggled every day to drag myself out of bed in the mornings. It was tough. It was hard because all my girlfriends have been attractive girlfriends. I've never had a problem getting a girlfriend. I've ruined every relationship I've had really because of my own insecurities, and I thought they were going to do something in the end. So I jump ship every time I get a compliment from somebody else. I know it was totally wrong to do it, but I know I should have worked on myself, made myself better first before I got into a relationship. But it just didn't happen like that. So I just ended up jumping ship. And
that's a reflective view, right?
Because I just felt so shit about myself and just felt so low about myself. When somebody else said good things about you, it made me feel good about myself for a couple of minutes.
What way then? What was that low? What is those hard times? One of the questions I've got is the hardest time you go through, right?
Yeah.
What's the hardest time you've ever had? And
well, it was then. So the 10 years after my accident, really, where I hated what I saw in the mirror. I couldn't accept what had happened to me. Obviously, I didn't have any counselling. It was affecting all my relationships. It was affecting my moods. My family was struggling with obviously my moods and everything as well so I've only really talked to my accident, my family, 4 months ago, the first time in 24 years. I sat my mother and father down. We spoke about the accident the first time in 24 years, like the elephant in the room. It was brushed under the carpet. Nobody ever asked me my accident. They just said, "Oh, you changed since the accident. You're a different person. You're moody. You're quiet." But it's funny because when everybody else sees me, I'm happy, I'm fun and go lucky. But when I go to my mother's house, I go in my shell, I'm quiet. And that was because, it sounds crazy when I say it now, but all my life, growing up, from 5 years of age to 21, the only way I thought I'd make my dad and my family proud is playing rugby, winning trophies, winning rugby. And when I couldn't do that anymore, I thought, well, I lost my identity. And I think, well, I can't make my dad proud anymore. My 3 brothers still playing rugby as well. So I'd see, on a Sunday, we had family tea, I'd see my brothers saying, I scored a try yesterday, I had a fight yesterday, won a game yesterday. My dad's listening to it, and I'm sat there thinking, what the fuck can I contribute to this conversation? I can't do nothing to this conversation. So then, it wasn't that I went moody, I just stopped contributing to the conversation. I thought I had nothing to contribute to the conversation. I went quiet. If they spoke to me, I'd speak to them, but I wouldn't start the conversation, so I went really quiet. And they just said, oh, you changed, you did different since your accident. So when I sat down and talked to them a couple of months back, because I wanted to start putting things on social media and talking about my accident and everything, and helping inspire people who've been through trauma, stroke, comas, had their dream taken off them. I've experienced lots of different things, so I could help, I think, thousands of people with my story. So I want to talk about it, so I went to see more of my family, my brothers, individually as well, before I released things on social media.
Yeah, what was it? Can you go back one step and just talk us through that meeting with your mum and dad? Talk us through.
It was hard. It was really tough.
But what got you to that point of having to have that conversation? But then talk us through just that. What was it like to talk to her?
It was hard. What the biggest change for me is my current partner is the most amazing person I've probably ever met. She's just so nice. She's just a lovely person. She's brought the best out of me, and my parents gave her the best accolade ever. They said to her a while ago, "You brought the old Andrew back," because she showed me that you could still be a real man and tough, but show emotions and be strong. Whereas over the years, I thought you couldn't do that. So my current partner is she's incredible. I'm inspired by her. I learn off her every day. So I wanted to be a better person for her. And I'm also in a good place, I'm in a strong place. I've worked a lot on my mental health, I've worked a lot. I never had any professional help, but I just did it all myself, reading and studying and things. So I've learned a lot about myself. And I met the man who saved my life as well last year. I haven't seen him for 24 years, Professor Lang. Amazing. I know there's a team around him, but he was the main surgeon. So I tracked him down on Google and I went to see him. So I sent him a nice long email, first of all, saying, you probably don't remember me. And he replied saying, of course I remember you. Your injuries are horrendous, he said. So we arranged a meeting. He's in Swansea University now, director in the new campus in Swansea. So I went to see him and it was such an emotional, I shook his hand and said, thank you for saving my life. I said, there's not many people who can say that to someone, is there, I suppose, who saved their life. And he said, you're a miracle. He said, you're a miracle. He said, you should have died on so many occasions. He said, how you're still here is incredible. You've got to share your story and inspire people. So basically, it was a conversation I wanted to have with my family for 20 odd years where I kept putting it off. And
so what kept putting it off? And what, because I'm thinking, how many people are out there that just put things off?
That's my current partner. She made me believe in myself again. I believed in myself again. I started loving myself as well. I started to like myself, I suppose.
You didn't love yourself then?
Hated myself for years, 20 odd years, I suppose. Hated what I saw in the mirror. As if I was punishing myself for still being alive after my accident, and as if I didn't deserve to be here anymore. I used to ask myself so many questions in my head. Why am I still here? What's my purpose? There must be a reason. If I believe there is a God, why am I still here? There must be a reason I'm still alive. And I used to every day ask myself questions over and over again. What's my purpose? I'm a miracle patient, they say, but what am I here? Just everything's been a challenge and a battle.
Even though you saved me, you haven't saved me.
Yeah, exactly. Everything was a struggle. Like I said, I did everything arse backwards in my life. So at 21 in my accident, 23, my son was born. When I was 23, my son was born. Obviously, it wasn't planned, but my son was looking back as the best thing ever happened to me, and he sort of saved me. And Morgan, my son, is another incredible kid. And Morgan and my partner Kelly are the two most amazing people, and he's helped me so much in my life that he doesn't even know it. Probably he'll never know it. And he's helped me so much. I used to drag me out of bed in the morning, I'd cry and look at the bed. It was him. I'd get out of bed in the morning because I had a responsibility and I wanted to be a good dad for my son. So I drag myself out of bed, take my son to football, take him to rugby. So he's helped me. He's dragged me out of this depression. I've never been diagnosed with depression, but I knew what depression was. I suppose I had really bad depression, I suppose. But he helped me through all that sort of thing.
What were the signs of that?
Just didn't want to be here anymore, and just crying constantly. My moods are volatile, up and down, erratic. I just feeling low by myself, really low, no energy, lethargic, tired all the time. Just went on I had good. You go through it for a couple of weeks, and then you feel a bit better about yourself, and then you feel bad about yourself. It was up and down for years. It went on, and I'm a type of person. I don't like going to doctors. I don't like seeing help, and I didn't want help, to be honest. I thought I could deal with myself. And
is that because of the traditional values and that family bit that you felt?
I'm a man. I should be able to deal with my own problems. I'm a big, strong, strapping man. I should be able to deal with my problems, and you can't talk to someone. That's a sign of weakness. I did actually go for counselling about, I think it was 10 years ago. I only had about 5 or 6 sessions and it was the best thing I ever had done, and best thing I ever did, because it was affecting one of my relationships. I was going out with a girl, and every now and again I'd cause an argument out of nothing. I was with this girl for like 3 or 4 years, and I'd cause an argument out of nothing. And she goes, will you stop saying that? I say, you're going to cheat on me, I'm ugly, I got scars, or usual thing. I feel sorry for myself, I'm going to pity potty, I don't feel sorry for myself. And she will you stop causing it, will you stop saying it? She said, I love you for who you are. She said, you're an amazing person, physically, you're a nice guy, you're a lovely person and that. So I did it, I actually went for counselling. And the person I saw was amazing, Santa Vadra she was, in her house. She had like tattoos, she was down to earth and nothing what I was expecting. And after an hour I sat with her, she said, I know exactly what's wrong with you. I said, PTSD? She goes, no, you're grieving. I said, what do you mean grieving? I said, when somebody dies. And she goes, on the night they actually did die, because all I've heard of you so far is, I used to play rugby, I used to do this, I used to look like this, I used to do this, I used to. This is the old Andrew, you need to forget about this, is the new you now, you've got to accept what you are now and move on with it, otherwise it's going to eat you up for the rest of your life. You can't change it, you've got to learn to accept it and love yourself now. I only had a few sessions with her and it stopped then, but I was just getting somewhere.
That how impactful was that moment? Because that sounded like I put old Andrew here.
Yeah.
Your mum even noticed it, like old Andrew. So
that's what his counsellor said to me. She said to me, your family are grieving for you as well, because all your mother says, you never used to be like this before your accident, you never used to be before the accident. So they were grieving for the old Andrew, that's my parents are still grieving. So I think it's something in life called a change curve or a grief. So I've only been in acceptance recently. I think only been the last couple of
20
months.
years.
Yeah, 20 odd years. I was sitting grieving. I couldn't accept. I had so much resentfulness, anger, bitterness. I was just angry, bitter.
Towards who?
The accident, I suppose, myself, the accident, just, I guess everything what happened to me, I looked and all that sort of thing. I just hated what happened to me. My rugby career got taken off me. I just bitter and twisted. My current partner, she's had her challenges in her life as well, but she's so, her glass is full, whereas I'm always half empty. We're like yin and yang, to be honest. We complement each other so well. And she's just so positive and happy. She sees the good in everyone, whereas I'm always used to be sceptical. And if somebody's doing something good, it's because there's an ulterior motive. I couldn't just accept. I'm always sceptical. I used to be sceptical of people. I always
always been that way.
Again, because I think it's my upbringing and judgmental of certain people. People on benefits, I thought were all scum. People on benefits and they're all, white scroungers. My money intact. My wages are paying your money. And I think that immigration people coming over here all the time and. That's the
what I want to. There's two things we're going to go in. It's funny because I asked you about what it was like to ask your mum and dad, and you haven't answered that question yet, right? So you're going to come back to that one.
Yeah.
But we are all about what's happened, right? Like very much so. It's not how are you. A good question to ask is what's happened to you.
Yeah.
You're saying you got something that has happened to you.
Yeah.
But it's more like the upbringing, the family, how much that impact has had on you. You had 20 years of denial.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of it was. They say a great upbringing. It's not that it wasn't their parents are brilliant parents, but their values and old traditional values sometimes worked against me, I suppose, in certain things. Not being able to talk, not being able to show your emotions, not being able to speak to anybody. So I thought I couldn't do that sort of thing because it's a sign, like I said, it's a sign of weakness. So you can't. Men shouldn't be talking about their feelings and showing things. So you just bottled it up then for 20 odd years. So when my partner maybe my partner really good, feel good about myself, feel strong again, and I say I want to be like her. She inspires me all the time. I'm thinking, why is she? If you look at my life from the outside, I'm not bad looking. I'm quite fit.
Definitely a question mark on that one, right? I'll come back to you on that one.
I'm quite a fit guy. My health is okay. I got a good job. My family are fit and healthy. There was still something missing in my life, and I'm thinking, why? I just want to be happy to me. There's lots of people out there who would love to have what I want, or what I got, I suppose, but I'm still not happy. I'm always searching for something more and something more. And she said to me, I've learned a lot about myself the last couple of years, and what's missing. So I wanted to start talking about it. So my family, sitting down with my mother and father, it was tough to me because I know.
So talk us through. Go into it in a bit of granular detail. Talk us. Where was it?
I went to my mother and father's house. I took Kelly with me for backup, so a bit of backup. So she was there with me because I knew it would be emotional, and I knew I'd probably get upset.
You called the meeting?
I think I just went to my mother and father's. I knew they would be there, so I just popped out. I rung them and told them. I think I just called in the house. So they don't go anywhere. My father goes to the local coffee shop every day for a coffee, the tutorial in Talbot Green. Yeah. And that's the furthest he goes. He might pop the Porthcawl with his friend one day, but that's all he goes. My mother doesn't leave the house anymore, really, since her stroke last year. She's not really steady on her feet. Yeah. So I knew they were going to be there, so I popped in. I sat them down and I said, look, I need to talk to you. As soon as you say the word talk in my family, it's like, talk? What's that about? What's up being talk? What's wrong? What's wrong? You're not gay? Or what's wrong? You got a terminal illness or something wrong? I said, well, I want to talk about the accident. What accident? What do you want to talk about that for? And it's like, well, I need to talk about it because I want to know where I want to let you know where I've been for the last 20 odd years. And I knew the reaction. They're lovely people. They're struggling. They struggled with it for years as well. They went through a lot. Imagine being told their son was going to die and then being sold, told. My mother says to this day now, she relives that night every night in her head. Now, Greg Prosser was the policeman on duty that night. They were ex-rugby player. And he knocked my mother's door at 11:30 in the night. They said, Mr. Jenkins, you need to come with us now. She had a petticoat on, a nightie in bedtime, late at night. I'll go and get changed now, she said. Oh, you haven't got time to do that now, we've got to come now. So my mother and father go in their pyjamas into the back of a police car, whiz down the M4 from Talbot Green down to Newport at 150 miles an hour, blue lights on, to see their son coming back out the hospital, getting back on the trolley, going in an ambulance, back to going to Morrison there. So they couldn't even see, no one allowed to see me either. So I can imagine I can imagine soon, touch wood, not my son, but I just can't imagine what they went through, to be honest. It was awful for them. So
she says that replays with her every night.
Yeah, every day she relives that moment. She tells me and my mother don't really talk about it, but my partner, my parents love Kelly a bit. She's an amazing person. They say she brought the old Andrew back, the old bubbly fun Andrew again. She brought me back, and that's a massive thing, and nobody else has been able to do that for 20 odd years. So it's been great, and me and Kelly got such a great, open, honest relationship. We've been open and honest about everything together, and so my mother tells Kelly lots of things. When we're out for a drink and we stay with my mother and father's, Kelly might stay with my mum talking for a couple of hours, and my mother gets upset with Kelly reliving the accident with her and talking about things, how she worries about me and things like that. And that my mother, she relives that all the time, I suppose. And
so what did you say to your mum and dad? How did you word it?
Well, I said to them, I said, you talk about the accident. They said, well, you changed after the accident, didn't you? I said, well, did you ask me why? Have you ever asked me why I changed? I said, I know it's going to sound stupid to you. I knew what the reaction would be. I said, I didn't think Dad loved me, and I didn't think he loved me anyway. I didn't think I was as good as my brothers. I thought it was so bloody stupid. Of course we love you. I said, I know you do, but at the time I didn't think that. And also my brothers are better than me. They were still playing rugby. And also I couldn't play rugby anymore. So I just thought I was a nuisance to everybody. I thought I caused people so much trouble for everybody, stress for everybody. I just thought I was a nuisance and in the way. And I thought I lost my identity. I couldn't do things. So I sat there, I suppose, and they understood. I know their reaction. They're quite dry, and they say things like, "It was a bloody stupid. It was a dull. Just get on with it." I know that's their reaction, and that's the old school. And
how did that feel when they reacted that way? Was it sort of, how did it feel that way?
I knew they were going to react. I knew they were going to react. Like that's what I hear them talk about lots of things over the last couple of years, about lots of my brothers and things, and talk about things. I knew that's their views, and they're just old school. They just get on with it. They just crack on. I suppose my parents just crack on. So I knew that we had a good day. We just had a good chat about things. I explained what I was trying to do. I said I'm in a good place now. I met the doctor who saved my life last year, and he said you've got to share your story and inspire people, and that's what I want to do. That's my dream, and that's what I aim to, is to inspire people and help other people. Because there's thousands of people out there who've suffered a trauma, been a stroke, lots of things that I've been. Maybe not a car crash. It doesn't matter if it's a car crash or not. They've had a trauma. I think I can help thousands of people, youngsters who perhaps are not good enough to play rugby, or had injury and can't play sport anymore, who think their dream is the end of the world. So I could help them people. I could help people who perhaps could get old. I know a lot of it's luck as well, but a lot of it's heart and your mind, I think, a lot of it.
But when you walked out that door and you had that chat, what did that feel like?
It was like it took our relationship another level, a different dimension, I suppose. It was like a big weight off my shoulders. It's like walked around for 20 odd years, not knowing what they thought. It's like a big weight, a cloud had been lifted off me. And then I spoke to my son. I went to see my son then on Saturday. That was on a Friday night. I rang my son then. I went to see him in Cardiff. We had a chat not far from here somewhere, in a coffee shop. And we had a 4-hour chat, me and my son, because I said he's 22 years of age. I said, look, you're a man now, and I need to have a chat with you about things. And I said, what do you know about my accident? He said, nothing. He said, I wonder what your scars were all your life growing up, but I never wanted to ask, he said. So my own son didn't want to ask for my accident, so he didn't want to know. He said, I asked my mother a few times, but she just said, oh, you're too young, you didn't know. So we talked about everything. We talked about drugs, we talked about MDMA, we talked about girls, my accident, we talked about absolutely everything. I'm not stupid. I don't want one of these parents who's naive enough to think my son will never do anything. You see some parents, so my son will never do this. That's funny, because I work the doors and I see him off his head every weekend. So, but I want to be I hope my son can come and talk to you about anything. Like, I know he goes to the gym all the time, so there's a chance he might get offered steroids. I know he goes out to raves all the time. So I know he's going to come up again with cocaine or MDMA. Unfortunately, it's massive at the moment, drugs at the moment. So I know he's going to be offered that. And I'm not condoning, I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm going to have a different opinion on that, I suppose. But I hope he can come to me and talk to me about things where I felt I couldn't talk to my parents growing up.
I think I in my training sessions, I do a concept called the iceberg model.
Right.
And the iceberg model's where it's the conscious and unconscious. Right. It's what you can see, what you can't see.
Yeah.
Right. And ultimately, there's a lot more you don't see.
Yeah.
Than you see, right?
Yeah.
And I did it last night with one of the training sessions I had and people have a realisation where that water level is, right? And the water level, by the sounds of where your parents' water level is quite high.
Yeah.
They don't drop it very low.
No.
Right? Whereas what you've ended up doing is bringing that water level down.
I've tried the last couple of years. I've done a lot of research, a lot of studying, and I've got to try and not challenge my beliefs and my unconscious mind. What's been brought my life, I suppose, the last 40 years. I've tried to challenge that. I've had to try and change my mindset and which I have. I'm a much more accepting person now. I'm not judgmental anymore. I'm a much more open person when it comes to people on drugs.
Yeah.
I saw people on drugs before. I used to think certain opinions of people taking drugs and that. But I'm much more open-minded to things now. And I work in security as well. Unfortunately, you come across it all the time. And when I had my opinion perhaps of people taking drugs, I thought they were like at certain jobs, maybe not even working. But it's the people who are actually high flyers, they're the worst ones for doing it. So my opinions change a lot on certain things.
Yeah,
so
what's the lesson then? Someone sat there listening and going, I tell you what, I'm looking in the mirror and I really don't like what I see.
I should just try and just be more open-minded, try and challenge and just read about reading things that I read.
What's the first step though? What's that first...
Self-awareness, I suppose. A lot of self-awareness.
Okay, I know what you're saying with it, and I agree with you. Like, I would say that is one step, but
Yeah.
what is that? What can they do? What's the simple thing they can do right this second to help themselves?
Help themselves, we'll say, well, as we talking to people, talking to their family, I suppose, talking to their children and being more open with their family. And, it's a difficult conversation. Like I said, I had a conversation with my son. And then I spoke to my brother in the afternoon, my oldest brother in the afternoon. We had a coffee in Porthcawl. I spoke to my other brother on a Sunday and my other brother on a Monday. And the conversation with my brother, we're all big, strong men. It's like, it was hard, but we all felt the same. We all wanted to have this conversation for 20 years. They didn't want to say anything to me. They didn't want to upset me. I didn't want to say anything to them because they didn't know how to broach it. So when we had the conversation, it was like talking to my mates. It was like, you could just feel a weight off everybody's shoulder. And I said, look, this is what I've been feeling. This is what I've been like I was. And I think they totally got it. And I said, well, this is what I'm going to be doing now. We're talking about my accident and things. And obviously they're going to be involved in it. And they all really, really supportive. They're really proud of me. And they said, we're so glad you're doing that sort of thing. You're so brave and you're so... And I was really surprised, the reaction. Not surprised. They're really supportive of me, actually. All my brothers, the three of them, my family, my mother and father, everybody's been really supportive of me and everything. But I said, what people can do... I'd say talk to people. Talking's massive in life, I think. Don't bottle things up. Bottle things up are the worst thing you can do. It just escalates things worse and worse and worse, I think. And I know it's hard to have the conversation, but pluck up the courage. When you'll have a conversation, you'll find sometimes it's not that bad. It might not be that bad.
Are you finding that since you've opened up, you've had a lot of people come to you with the similar problems? Yeah, I
put a video on Facebook about a couple of months back. After I spoke to my family about it, I put a video. It's quite a raw video. It wasn't edited. It was one take. It was just me talking about my experience the last 20 odd years. And it was quite an emotional video. And it was a raw video. People, I had hundreds and literally hundreds. I had 25,000 views on Facebook. I had hundreds of people messaging then, doormen, rugby boys, thinking, oh God, you didn't seem like it. You're always fun and bubbly when you're out and about. I never thought you'd been suffering with that. I said, what do you expect? I'm going to walk around crying with like thunder and lightning on my head, or that it doesn't work like that. I said, I'm a bubbly person, but behind closed doors, you don't see that side of me. But I put a.
And what was it like then behind closed doors at that point?
It was, it was tough for 20 odd years. It's only been the last couple of years. I've not been brilliant the last couple of years, but it's much better now, and I'm really in a fab place now. And it was tough to me. It was hard, and
because there's loads of doormen out there.
Yeah.
There's loads of hard big rugby boys.
Gym people.
There's like the culture that Wales has got generally is, we're working, what I love about Welsh rugby compared to English, we're working class.
Yeah.
We're working class, right?
Yeah.
England, totally different.
Yeah.
But we're working class mining villages that love their rugby, right? That have really thick, or seen as really thick skin.
Yeah.
But the reality is, what you just said is that
everybody's got feelings and emotions. No matter how hard you are, it could be the hard. I've had people messaging me for my video, hard doorman who I looked up to as a kid, older than me, quite a bit older than me, tough guys, who messaging me saying, your videos are inspirational, keep on doing it, because you really, I resonate with you so much. And it hits home with me, and I've started talking to my partner, I've started talking to my kids now. So they've started opening up and talking now, because they're big, hard, strong man, like you can talk. And when I see people in the street and tell them, I had a coma, I had counselling. Oh, you've had counselling, yeah, it doesn't make you weak, it doesn't make you broken, you've had counselling. So you work on it, you have a PT in the gym, why not have a counsellor for your mind? So your mind is probably much stronger than your body, physically wise. So, physically and mentally, they work hand in hand. I said, you look after your physical health, why not look after your mental health as well, which is more important, I think, probably. Because
people... I just think it's great because there's a lot of, I've obviously worked in hospitality 20 years, right? Yeah. So I've dealt with a lot of doormen in my time, plus big rugby boys that come in as well, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But there's no, there's no way they're all okay.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own challenges in their own way.
Yeah.
And I think, what you're saying and what you're talking through about that closing that door for 20 years and not being happy in yourself. That step of just taking that one step to help yourself is a big thing, mate.
It was hard to me, and maybe if I got professional counselling years ago, I could have been, I say better. There wasn't nothing wrong. I couldn't say, I don't want to say I was make myself better, because in my head it wasn't broken, but yeah, make myself a better person, a better version of myself. Then if you want, if I'd seen professional help years ago, maybe I would have, but I didn't. I tried to do it all. I saw one counsellor, a couple of sessions we had, and it was okay. You scratched the surface, but apart from that, I've done it all myself. I tried to do it myself, I think, and I've done a okay job.
Is there any time in that 20 years then you think, well, if I'd have done that then, would I have got better earlier?
I suppose.
And what would that be?
I could have think like, yeah, but I've tried to learn the last couple of years, and I'm trying to have no regrets in life. I sort of learned to not have regrets. Do you mean I regrets of the accident happening, but at the end it happened, and perhaps I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be on here talking about this, and I wouldn't be. I think it's called post-traumatic growth. They call it. There's a big thing called post-traumatic growth, where if you had a serious traumatic event, at the time it's obviously devastating. It's quite hard. But then other people they go on to do other things as a result of this. So see people losing their leg, losing their limbs in Afghanistan. They compete in the Olympics now. Would they have been in the Olympics if that had happened to them? Would they have been good enough as an able-bodied athlete to compete? Maybe not. So it's called post-traumatic growth. And like I've recently done I've done lots of things in my life, and I perhaps wouldn't have done that, and I wouldn't be where I am now, and with the current partner I have now, if I hadn't gone through and experienced that sort of thing and been as strong mentally and physically as I am now. I don't think so. I got to try and look at it as a positive and see what I've learned. And in life, I've always tried to do that. And in sales job, I've always tried to take a step back and evaluate and reflect on everything I do, every interaction I have with a customer. If they didn't buy something off me or didn't take a product, I'd never blame the customer. I'd always think, how do I do that better next time? And as a sports person, if you fail, is learn how to sit back and evaluate how to do things better next time. And you grow and you get better. That's how you get better in life. You get better and grow. And I've always done that. In my jobs, I've done it. In my sport, in the gym, I always do it. Try and lift a bit more next time, and try and improve in everything I do, small amounts every time.
Good, yeah. So I would train that in. Talk about training again, growth mindset, right?
Yeah,
it's the growth mindset rather than it being, you're always growing in something.
Yeah,
that's a great way to be.
Yeah, so I was stuck in a hole for many, many years, and I say it's only been the last couple of years I've started growing and expanding, and I feel I'm just in a great place now. I feel really good, happy. I got a great family. My immediate family are great. My partner and her two children are amazing. We get on so well. They're lovely kids. I mean, she's got a 12-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son, and they're great. They're really lovely kids. Like we've been together 3 years, me and Kelly, and she's amazing. So we got such a tight bond. In fact, we just laugh. There's so much laughter in the house, and like Kelly said, all she wants is a house filled with laughter. Yeah. At the start, it was difficult. I mean, it's not been perfect. Don't get me wrong, but we had to find out a lot about each other. We had a lot of open conversations at the start. We had a lot of rocky roads up and down, but we made us stronger together. Now we're still there. Anything will break us. Nothing will break us now. I don't think nobody or nothing will break us apart, and we're really good. My son is involved as well, and obviously he's older now, 22, so he's out there about doing his own thing. He's going for a rave Saturday in the depot. So I don't see him as I try and see him at least once.
You phone all the doormen and just let him know.
Mostly, he worked in the depot. I got him my job as selling in the depot behind the bar when he was a couple of years back. In the depot, I got him working in the bar. So he knows David Corbett and Malky, and he knows a lot of Matt Naden, and he knows a lot of them anyway. So so he's going there to Patrick Toppin, I think, on Saturday. So
nice, bit of a plug as well. Bit of a plug. Yeah. But so one of the questions I ask everyone on here is, what's the hardest thing? I know you've been through a lot of traumatic things in your life.
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing you've been in, and what has made you then crack on out of it?
I suppose the hardest thing is being trapped in my own mind. I suppose being trapped in my own thoughts, my own mind. Was hard. Telling yourself horrible things for. You wouldn't tell your best friend, or you wouldn't tell your kids. That's some of the things I would say to myself. Ugly, fat, you never have a girlfriend, and you don't deserve this. You don't deserve this. Girl's too pretty for you. She's going to cheat on you. And just like having self-doubt, and I always had trust issues with people, even though nobody's ever cheated on me. That I know, nobody's ever cheated on me. But in my head, I always thought the worst of everybody. I always thought the worst, and which affected my relationships. Then, do you know what I mean? And argumentative, and so it's just I was trapped in my own thoughts, and not being open-minded, being closed-minded. It's hard, but just opening my mind up, being much more self-aware, and just believing in yourself, I think, and just start loving yourself. And that's saying, I think, how can anybody else love you if you don't love yourself? And I think that's quite true. I think I know it's an old cliche, a cheesy saying, but I think it's quite true, to be honest. I mean, it's right, because if you don't love yourself, you can't expect anybody else to make you happy. It's not fair. It's a lot of pressure on somebody else to make. If you expect them to make you happy, you should be happy. I should be happy. And then you come together and make it even better. Then, whereas trying to doing things with them to try and make you happy is just not fair. It's draining for the other person, I suppose, as well. So,
what does loving yourself look like then?
Well, looking in the mirror and being proud of myself. I've only been proud of I've always been
proud of yourself now.
Oh, yeah. I'm still hard on myself. My partner says that she's never seen anybody who's as hard on themselves as me. I always beat myself up. If I do something, I always look at the net. Oh, I could have done this. If somebody saw you got a good body, oh, but there's always this bit. If somebody saw you nice eyes, oh, what about the scar? I've always followed it up with like a compliment or something good with a negative. Always instead of just saying thank you and accepting it. I've never done that for 20. I've never done that for 20, or even recently, I suppose, last year, I suppose. It's just saying thank you, just accepting the compliment, accepting the good thing, and just stop focusing on the negatives. Because your unconscious mind, if you're saying yourself constantly all the time, you're gonna start believing it and thinking it at the end of the day. And I say over the last couple of years, I've been more positive, more open-minded, more taking opportunities to come along. Whereas I've always been a steady Eddie, work 9 till 5 or 9 till 10 most of the time, but do a steady job. And now I've started saying yes to things and try and go out of my comfort zone. I've been so competitive over the years. I never did anything I didn't think I was going to win or didn't think I was going to be good at, because the fear of failure or fear of losing was just awful. So much so, even the Father's Day race is my son's sports day. When he was like 6 or 7, I never did it because I knew there was 2 boys there quicker than me. So he'd come over every year, grab, oh, come on, Dad, come and do the dad's race. Oh, I got a bad leg today. And he'd cry and run off. I'm thinking, how pathetic is that? So it's Father's Day race in sports. It's not even important. But I wouldn't do it because I knew I'd lose. That's why I've missed out on so many things in life, so many opportunities, because I knew I wouldn't do it. I knew I wouldn't do very well at it. But I've learned over the last couple of years. I read a book, an amazing book I read. It resonated with me so much. This book that I love it. Everybody should read this book. It's brilliant. And it said, don't look at it like this world where everybody is like.
What is the book?
It's called The Chimp Paradox.
Got it. Yeah, because if you go to the end, I'll really want to know what it was called first.
I love it. It's an amazing book, and
it's a great book.
There's so many scenarios in there that I read it about 15 years ago.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Dr. Peters.
Yeah, I read it about 15 years ago, but I didn't understand. I didn't really get it because I've done a lot of research and reading and studying and things over the last couple of years. I read it again. I've been away recently working for 4 weeks, and I read it up there. And I read it all in a couple of days, and there was a lot of things in there that resonated with me from my own upbringing.
Like what? Can you just run through it quick?
Yeah, there was a scenario in there. A little girl runs up to school. Her first day in school, she's drawn a picture of her family standing outside their house. So she runs up to her mum. Her mum's waiting at the gate. Oh, mummy, I got a picture. And the mother takes the picture off the little girl. Oh, that's an amazing picture. I'm so proud of you. I love you to bits. It's great. I'm going to stick it on the fridge so everybody can see it. Next scenario, exactly the same thing happens. The mother pushes the picture to one side, picks up the little girl, and says, I love you to bits. You're amazing. I'm so proud of you no matter what. Now let's have a look at this picture, what you've done. So what it's saying, the first scenario, that little girl thinks to get her mother's love and achieve and be accepted, she's got to achieve things and do things in life. But the second one, the mother loves that little girl regardless of what she does in life. And I think, not just British, I think British people, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, you've got to achieve things and do well in life, but I think everybody's driven by exam results or pressure. Or, if somebody passes their test third time, driving test, somebody passes first, that person's better than that person. Well, not really, are they? Do you know what I mean? So people's self-worth shouldn't be determined by how big your house is, how much money you earn, what car you drive, what exam results you get. Whereas people are so scared of other people finding out about the results of exams and things like that. But you should be telling
Can I ask a question? When you were brought up, was it the picture or was it you?
I think it was that, obviously, the picture maybe. I'm not saying, because obviously winning rugby trophies all my life, I thought winning rugby trophies made me feel good with myself. Run home, give my dad a trophy, player of the match, or man of the match, or player of the year, or I won a game, and it's all about achieving things. I thought to get my mother's love and my father's love, my father, was you had to achieve something in life. Do you mean? And it's not just sport. I think in life in general, the careers, how much you earning, and what car you driving, what house you got. But like yourself, I know people, lovely, great people, live in a 2-bedroom semi, who drive a crap old Corsa, but they're lovely, lovely, honest people. They don't mean they're a horrible person, but I know that on the other end of the scale, I know people live in mansions, got Lamborghinis, who are arseholes. Do you mean? So people in this country, I think people's self-worth, you shouldn't be determined by results. You got your morals and your whatever your beliefs are in life. That's what your self-worth is based on, not what you do in life. Do you mean? And I tried to change my beliefs in my son. So when I had that conversation with my son a couple of weeks ago.
How do you change someone's beliefs in somebody? It's an interesting point there. How do you do that?
It was tough to me. It's having that conversation and breaking the mould, like I did it with my son. When I had a conversation with him a couple of months back, he plays rugby at a good standard. He plays across keys. But I see something. I don't know if
I know the coach, Chris James.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know. But I don't know if he's actually. I don't know if he's playing rugby sometimes. If his love, his heart is in it. But I think to myself, is he playing rugby because he wants to make me proud because I wanted to play rugby, or is he playing rugby because he really enjoys it? So when I spoke to him in that coffee shop a couple of months back, I said to him, I don't care what you do in life. I don't care what job you got. I don't care you play rugby. I don't care if you play rugby or not. I love you and I'm proud of you no matter what. So I said other things, I'm hoping that's taken a bit of, not say pressure off him, but I've told him I love him regardless. Whereas I've never told my family, my mother and father, not it's a bad thing, I know they do, but they never told me they love me or never told me they're proud of me. Do you know what I mean? So they've never once said they're proud of me no matter what I do. So I've always I've gone against the blueprint of life, and I think, oh, I'm a failure in life. And I got two older brothers who were quite successful as well. And do you know what I mean? I think, oh, I've got to live up to them two brothers as well. And I'm not, you just beat yourself up and you think negative thoughts. So if my mother and father have said to me, I'm really proud of you, no matter what, I love you, I would have felt a bit better on myself maybe. So I'm hoping, I'm with Morgan now, I've sort of broken the mould so I'm hoping now, when he has children, when he's older now, he can pass on to his kids now and tell him you love him, don't be scared. Like my partner.
That's lovely.
My partner says her kids, she's really tactile with her family. I'm not saying you've got to be tactile, loving them all, kissing them and hugging them all the time, but her two kids, they got so much love off their mother, she's loving them all the time. As me, I only hugged my son and told him I loved him for the first time 4 months ago when we had that conversation. I never hugged him, apart from he was a baby, but I never hugged him as two big rugby men hugging in a coffee shop, and it felt good, it felt really good. I told him I love him, and we started saying we love each other now, and it was really hard. It was really difficult to say that. It's like my son. I found it hard. I wanted to say it, but I was like a knot in my stomach. Every time I go to say it or do it, I just felt I couldn't. It was hard right now. Now it just happens, I suppose. We text each other, love you. He puts a kiss on the end, and we're sort of breaking the mould. Whereas when
you say breaking the mould, like I say, it's
my family's mould, I suppose. That bringing where you've got to be big, strong, macho men. Yeah. I've never seen anybody hug my mother, my brothers. Never seen them say they love each other, love my mother, to my mother or anything. I've started hugging my mother recently. I say after a big stroke last year. I know again it's a bit of a cheesy thing. There's no point in crying at their graveside when they're gone and saying you love them there. They can't hear that. You better off doing it while they're still alive and they can appreciate it and hear it. And it's been hard. I don't say it to my dad. Again, I don't hug my dad or say I love my dad, but I started hugging my mother now. It's like when Kelly comes to my mother's house, when she's always come to my mother's house.
Would you hug your dad?
I would, yeah. It'd feel weird. I would do it. Yeah, of course I would do it. We do now and again, but very rare. Okay, if it's something really big. But I've never seen my brothers show any emotions or towards my mother and father or anything really. So yeah, so when I say breaking the mold, I mean breaking what I've had for the last 45 years.
Old tradition.
Yeah, the old tradition, I suppose. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's not right or wrong. That's just the way it was. And
that's what I'm saying about the valleys, man. I'm just saying about Wales generally. I think it's real impactful that just how common this is.
Mm.
My grandfather, and he said he loved my dad when he was dying.
Mm. Yeah. It's sad and it's crazy.
When he was on his deathbed, he told his son that he loved him.
It's crazy, isn't it? No.
My dad's, I love my dad to bits, and there we go. I say it quite openly. I say it all the time. But he tells me he loves me all the time. Yeah,
it means a lot. This goes a long way. I know that, I know they do, but it'd be nice to hear it sometimes. I know they do. I know we do. It's just we're a really close family, but it'd be nice now and again to hear it off people, hear each other say to each other, because it just makes you feel nice inside a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And I know you don't have to. Not everybody's going to do that. And it's like hugs and kisses all the time. I know that's not right. That's not who we are.
But there's so much power in it, mate.
Yeah.
But the bit for me is that it's that accountability piece. If we take responsibility for that, if I wait for everyone to call me out for a beer, I'm never going to go out for a beer.
Yeah.
If I wait for my dad to tell me he loves me, why can't I just say it to him?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like what you said earlier on about taking that first step.
Yeah.
If you take the first step, why has it got to be the other person? Why can't I do it?
It feels strange. It will feel strange. I'm not saying, I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy, because it's not easy, especially if you haven't done it before. But once you get used to it, start doing it regularly, it might feel a bit alien, a bit weird, first of all, but you get used to it. And it makes a huge difference. I mean, I know,
for you, right?
Yeah. I know more than anyone, life could change in a click of a finger, I suppose. I could have died at 21 and never told my mother and father I love them. Do you know what I mean? I think your life could change, and there's lots of people out there who are lucky might not wake up this tomorrow morning, or might get knocked over by a car, or something might happen. Have they actually told their family and their kids they love them, or are they proud of their kids? Have they ever done that? It's too late.
Yeah, what's again, it's going back to that, what's important in life, right?
Yeah,
What is important in life?
What's important to me is obviously my family and being happy and just having a good family. My family mean more to me than anything. My immediate family I class as now, but also my brothers and my mother and father. It's the cornerstone of everything. From a young age, been brought up in an old traditional family, and family is important to me. And obviously, that's and being happy in myself and doing.
But loving yourself, was that?
Yeah, loving myself and being proud of myself and being proud of my achievements and not being hard on myself. I have been. If I look back on my life, I look back and reflect on what I've achieved. I've had good jobs. I've been every job I've had, been successful. I've had good relationships. I've been a good boyfriend most of the time. I've been a good son. Apart from my accident, I caused a bit of stress and trouble, but that wasn't my fault. It was my fault, but I didn't plan to have that happen. But yeah, I've been a good son, I think, to most of the time, and I never caused any trouble. I've been a good friend, loyal friend to most of my friends, and I'm there for my friends if they ever need me. I've always been there for them, and I look back and I've done well in life, I think. Do you mean I may not have had the blueprint and bought a house, got married, I could do it in the right order. I'm doing it all ass backwards, but I'm doing it slowly, and I'll get there in the end, I think. But
Are you happy?
I am happy now. I'm really happy with my life at the moment. Yeah, I'm happy. It's going in the right place, and I've only started opening my mind up to lots of other things, like, spiritual things, and you've got The Secret and all that sort of thing, and vibrations and the law of attraction. But
Mate, you're a practitioner in NLP. You've started the journey.
And it's quite true, I suppose. I say, everybody knows, when you're having a good day and you're happy, things just fall into place. Things seem to go well in life. You can find a fiver on the floor, and then something happens. But then when you have a bad day and you're negative, and nothing goes right, your boss is on your back, and everything goes wrong, and everything, you have a bad day. And I don't know, it's not a coincidence. I think it's true. Like, and I think everybody can wake up in the morning, and you can choose what mood you want to be in that day.
Yeah, of course you can. You can choose.
Yeah, and you can choose what mood you're in. I know, life isn't easy, life isn't perfect sometimes, do you know what I mean? But it's your choice. And, like, don't let other people's actions to judge your emotions, really, which I've learned in the Chimp Paradox. Don't let other people's actions or what they do affect you. Do you know what I mean? If somebody else does something, you've got two choices: you either accept it and move on, or just leave or go away, and don't affect your mood and your happiness. And that's
Mate, I'm all over that. I think we choose how we turn up.
Yeah.
If we choose to turn up in a great mood, like everyone says to me, bring an egg, you're always positive.
You are. Every time I see you, always positive.
But I have my down days.
Yeah.
But I'm more good than I am bad.
Yeah.
And if I keep turning up that way, I get a more positive reaction from other people.
Yeah. Like I was the flip side. For years, I was doom and gloom, like bad. I was laughing, joking about in public. But then with the people I'm close to, I don't open up to that many people, to be honest. And my current partner, I don't open. My mother and father don't open up that much to a lot of people, really. So obviously they get the brunt of it. My partner gets the brunt of it. Then obviously she's the good and the bad, because she's my best friend. She's everything to me. She's my lover, my best friend. So, so it goes up and down. We're both the same, I suppose. She opens up to me, but it tells me everything. I tell her everything. So when I have a bad day in work, she gets the full force of it. When I have a good day at work, she has so it can be quite a challenging time sometimes when you go.
It's good to talk.
Yeah, it is good to talk, but I should really nip out to see my friends and like vent to them sometimes. So I wouldn't vent to my partner all the time, but just busy all the time. You don't get time to catch up, and it's important to make time to catch up with your friends. And I don't. You're busy. I'm working all day, and then I go to the gym in the night, and then I go home. It's 9 o'clock in the evening, thinking, I don't have time to do anything. Do I prep my meals for the next day?
But I think that we can all do that, though, can't we?
Yeah.
So the takeaway: go and see your friends, mate.
Yeah, go and see your mates, go and see your friends. It is important to have a bit of time to.
Mate, and I've just started learning that myself even more so. Like, I went out for a walk last Sunday with my mates. We could easily have said no.
Yeah.
It was raining, whatever. It's like, no, we're going out.
Yeah. You do talk differently to your friends, you do to your partner, slightly different too. You don't say the same things to your friends. And it's different. Like, you need to have a bit of me time. Like, my me time for the last 20 years has been the gym. That's what I mean. So if I have a bad day in work, go to the gym, I go home and I'm chilled out. If I go home, if I had a bad day in work, go straight home, I'm quite irritable and it takes me a while to unwind. But if I go to the gym, I'm good on the punch bag or go and do some good weight session, it just chills me out.
I wouldn't want to see you on the punch bag. I definitely wouldn't.
So that's been my happy place for years and years and years. That's why I want to start to go into. That's my next career step, and that's what I really want to go into now. Is that sort of thing, mental health, but also gym as well. So I don't want to be a PT, out and out PT, because I don't want to be a PT walking on the gym with a clipboard, and that's been a saturated market. But also I got the NLP qualification as well. So I'd like to do something which is work. I love the gym, and I think it works hand in hand, mental health and physical health. So I'd like to do some in the gym, but also like mental health as well. So you can look after their physical body, but also their mind as well. Yeah. So I know lots of counsellors, I know lots of PTs, but I don't really know anybody that's doing both. So I'd like to do something where you say to, if you're a client, I can say to them, we'd like to come to the gym. How are you feeling today? Do you want to go for a walk and a coffee and a chat? Or do you want to go for the gym for half hour, walk for half hour, gym for how are you feeling like? And then you could do whatever they want to do.
Well,
and
going back to that iceberg, it's like how, to bring the lower in the level.
Yeah.
How are you is the biggest way.
Yeah, it is. And that's what I say to people. People say, they struggle to have conversations with people who are, people are struggling with their mental health sometimes. And people are going through a tough time. They've been in a bereavement, a divorce. But the worst thing to do is not say anything, is to not start a conversation. People say, I don't want to say, I don't want to trigger anything. So all you've got to say is, how are you doing? You haven't been yourself lately. How are you doing? Do you want to talk? If they say no, the worst you can do then is take it personally and start interrogating them. Oh, why? Why are you doing something wrong with you? No, it's not. Because I've had it myself for 20 odd years. And people say, what's wrong? Nothing. Yeah, there is. No, there's not. There's nothing fine. Oh, and they end up in an argument. And then I say, all you can say to people, ask them twice. Is everything okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Which is the right answer. Don't take that offence. They might not be ready to talk at that time. They might want to talk, but it's not at that time. It might be 1 week, 6 weeks, 6 months, or whatever. But it's all you can say to them. Follow up with, I'm here for you. If you ever need to talk, whenever you're ready to talk, just pick up the phone, give me a ring, drop me a text, we'll go for a pint, go for a walk, have a chat. If you're struggling with mental health, if you had that message of somebody, if you know there's somebody there when you need them, that's really powerful. If I knew then, I could pick up the phone to John and whenever maybe not at that time, I didn't want to talk at the time, but in a couple of weeks' time, when I'm ready to open up or ready to have a chat, if I knew he was waiting on the other end of the phone, I could ring him and go for a pint. Whereas if he'd interrogated me and gone on to me, he's the last person I want to ring then, do you know what I mean? So I say to people, keep it simple, don't overthink it. Yeah. Just say to them, you okay? If they say no, just don't take offence by it, do you know what I mean? It's life, they're just not ready to talk at that time. I wasn't ready to talk to people, do you know what I mean? But it doesn't mean I don't like you, I'm not friends with you, I'm just not ready to open up. I can maybe want to talk to somebody else.
Yeah. Well, Simon Sinek talks about sometimes you want help.
Yeah.
And you're a natural helpers.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just want you to jump in the trenches with them.
Exactly.
They don't want you to help. I'm a natural helper.
Yeah.
I'll try and help everyone.
Yeah.
But I've turned people away in my time.
Yeah.
Trying to help them when they don't want help.
Yeah.
They just want to be listened to.
Yeah.
And having that option of being able to, ask the question, do you want help? Or do you want me just to listen?
Yeah.
Two powerful questions, isn't they?
I said to the doctor, the professor, I saw him last year, so we had a chat for hours. I could stay there for days talking to him, but I said, one of the biggest things you're missing in the NHS is all I wanted was somebody to talk to in hospital. I didn't want to know his opinion. I didn't want him to give me an answer because I know that he wouldn't have an answer. I just wanted to vent or talk to them and just listen to me and not even give me, not even tell me anything. Just not try and. A lot of people try so I can understand how you feel. Just empathise. Empathise with people. Don't say you know how they feel. You don't know how they feel. Do you know what I mean? Don't say, I know how you feel. You must be going through a terrible. You don't know. Everybody handles things differently in life. Every single individual, me, you, everybody handles things differently, don't they? So you can't say, I know you must be going through a tough time. You just don't. Just say, I can understand. Maybe just be listened. That's all somebody wants, is somebody to listen to. And if I had somebody to listen to 20 odd years ago, it might have helped me get it off my chest and got all these things out of my head and somebody to listen to and not an opinion. And you hear people as well, unfortunately, when people take their own life, their friends say, why didn't he come and talk to me? I said, well, did you make yourself available to him? Did you do what I just said then, where you say, I know something wrong, and did you make yourself available to him? Did you say, I'm here if you ever need me, drop me a line or give me a text or give me a ring? Or did you just try and interrogate them and go on and on to them, and your guard goes up and up and up further and further when somebody does that? So I said, just be open and just don't just be there for them whenever they need you. Just be there for them. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying they'll stop anybody committing suicide, death by suicide, but I think a lot of people talk. It'd be interesting to see if you would never know the statistics. I suppose people who committed suicide, if they managed to talk to someone, open up, how many would have still been here now? I suppose.
But it only takes one, doesn't it? Save one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So look, you answered the question, what are you going to do next, and how you're going to go with it. So we're going to always end with one question. If you had a chance to go back to an 18-year-old Andrew, what advice would you give him?
What advice would I give? There's lots of advice I can give. Don't drink so much. Just enjoy. Just try and be happy, and just believe in yourself, and just don't let anybody tell you can't do something, and just believe in yourself. Treat people with respect. Just be happy. Try and enjoy yourself. Don't take things for granted. Whereas I've always taken things for granted for years. Little things you take for granted. But don't take things for granted. Your family, especially. Friends, don't take it for granted. And just make time for people. Make time to do what makes you happy. Don't let life run away with you. You get trapped in this work environment. You're working like 12, 15 hours a day. Working all the hours and earning great money, but then you're too tired to spend it anyway, and you can't see anybody anyway, so you're quite lonely, to be honest. So I say, don't get me wrong, work hard and enjoy your life, have a good career. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying always make time for yourself. It's important to take time out, an hour a day or a couple of hours or whatever a week it is, just to take time out and reflect and just relax and just do something nice, like with your family or whatever. Everybody's different. Go to the cinema or whatever, go for a nice walk or just do something nice. Take time out, because you're so wrapped up in the rat race, I suppose, the corporate world a lot of people get wrapped up in. You're working 7 days a week, burnt out, they're tired, get a bleed on the brain, they're stressed, their marriage is failing, and thinking, for what? You're earning £100,000 a year, but great. What's the point of it? You're on your own. You can't enjoy it with anyone. You're on your own. So I just say, enjoy life and just make the most of it. I suppose you never know what's around the corner.
Yeah, great. And if someone's struggling, how do they reach out to you?
Well, say again, I got my Instagram page. I set up my Instagram page, strengthinyou.co.uk. So I've got a page which I've started putting videos on and putting little motivational things on there. So I've got a lot of followers on there. So people speak to me and give me a ring, and I'm always happy. I'm always open to talk to people, really, whether that's over the phone, go for a walk, whatever. So I've experienced. I'm the least judgmental person you can speak to. So I'll talk. I'm open, man. I get on with anybody. I'm an easygoing guy, down to earth as well. So I'll talk to anybody as well. So just reach out and talk to me. I'd rather reach out than bottling things up, which is the worst you could probably do.
Good. Hey, mate. It's been a absolute pleasure.
No, great. Thanks for having me. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you around, and thank you ever so much for coming on the Crack On podcast.
No, thank you. I loved it. Thank you very much. Cheers, John. Thanks.
Nice one, man.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, man. Thank you.